Hey guys, what's going on? Josh Engelman here, taking over for Chris Spags on the Four Corners this entire week, or at least Monday through Thursday. Not sure if this is going to be possible on Friday, but that's neither here nor there. Going to do a little bit different. I'm going to give you my personal top pitchers, my personal top stacks, a couple favorite one-offs, and then we'll get out of here. But first, at Osmo_com is the Twitter handle. At Osmo MLB if you just need our MLB stuff. At Josh Engelman if you want to follow me. And if you want to sign up at Osmo.com, you can get 50% off your first month of Osmo Plus if you use the promo code JOSH. That's all you have to do. One word, obviously. You've heard the shows before. And all you have to do is enter that when signing up. Any monthly package you choose, it only works for monthly packages. If you enter the promo code JOSH, you can get 50% off your first month of Osmo Plus. Let's just get started. First up is pitching, and this one's pretty obvious. Sonny Gray, 11,200 on DraftKings, 11,300 on FanDuel, $53 on Yahoo. He's the most expensive pitcher across all three sites. It's not close, and he's very clearly the most talented pitcher across all three sites. Not to mention, he's getting a matchup in Miami against the Marlins. What is not to like there? Massive strikeout rate here. The Marlins have the lowest implied total on the slate by a mile. He has the highest chance of picking up a victory. Every single sign that could be pointing towards Sonny Gray today is pointing towards Sonny Gray. There's not really a limit to how much I would want of him, other than the fact that it just locks you into a relatively certain roster construction because of his price. But no one else can reach his upside. No one else can reach his upside as frequently. He's simply the best pitching option today. Bar none. Don't overthink it. Don't worry about the Marlins putting up 15 plus runs like they did a couple days ago. Just wipe that stuff from your memory. All you need to know is that the Marlins offense isn't very good. The park is fantastic for pitching, and Sonny Gray is the best pitcher on the entire slate. This one's a bit scarier. Surprise, surprise. Tell me if you've heard this before. Joe Musgrove is pitching today, and he's picking up ownership. I'm just kidding. You've obviously heard it before, because every single time that Joe Musgrove starts a baseball game, he manages to bring in 20% ownership or something along those lines. Never fails. Doesn't matter who they face. Doesn't matter where the game is. They can play this damn game on the moon. And for some reason, Joe Musgrove gets ownership. And I can't disagree with it. Although this one's kind of scary. $6K on DraftKings and $33 on Yahoo. Those are the real spots where you want to be focused. Pitching in Philly's not fun. Home runs fly out of this ballpark, particularly against righties. But there's not a lot to pay down with today. It's either Tyler Beede or Musgrove, in my opinion. I'm going to go to Musgrove. The Phillies have been a below-average offense against righties this season. It's a middle of the pack strikeout rate thing for the Phils. It's terrible wording, but I'm just going to keep going because starting over would be a pain. They're not a great strikeout matchup. That's fine. Bryce Harper should be back in the lineup. Also not appealing. But I think people tend to worry a little too much about Musgrove. On the surface, he gets bombed against lefties. Close to a 200 ISO. I believe it's like 191, something along those lines, against lefties over the past two seasons. However, his X-ISO is like 50 points below that. So I think a lot of people see that he's gotten bombed against lefties on the surface. But if you dig in a little bit, I'm not sure those outcomes are representative of his talent level. And at 6K, if he is the guy that I'm pairing primarily with Sonny Gray, I think that's certainly worth the risk. I'm going to have a lot of Joe Musgrove today. I don't mind getting to the Phillies as a hedge stack if you're someone that's playing, 150 lineups. I think there's a position here to be on both sides just because of his ownership. But he's my primary SP2, and that's just where I want to be. Final pitcher I've got my eye on, Ginger Guard, Dustin May, going up against the Padres in San Diego. Honestly, I can't even make heads or tails of this right now. So at 8,500 on DraftKings, Dustin May is a perfectly acceptable mid-tier play. Works as an SP1 if you don't want to pay all the way up for Sonny Gray. Works as a relatively expensive SP2, even if you do want to go up to Sonny Gray. Now, May is a high-end prospect for the Dodgers. Not as much of a strikeout guy, more of a command guy than anything else, but the Padres should help out a ton there because they are big-time strikeout teams against righty. Highest active strikeout rate. Start over. Highest strikeout rate for their active roster in the league against righties. Number one, tops. So I think that he can squeeze out a couple extra strikeouts there. I like being there on DraftKings, but the real place that you want to be rostering Dustin May today is on FanDuel. He is $6,200. I would be playing Dustin May at $6,200 on FanDuel if this game were in Coors. But it's not in Coors. It's in San Diego in Petco Park. Now, it's not the same sort of pitcher's park that it always has been. Like Giant Stadium and Marlins Park are way more extreme now. But it's still a pitcher's park. And he's still Dustin May, and he's still talented, and the Padres are still striking out a ton. I don't get it. I wouldn't be surprised if Dustin May ends up being my most exposed pitcher on FanDuel, just because of how much money you can possibly save. It's a staggering value. Don't overlook him. Feel free to jam him in. I want to use him clear across the board. It's the easiest decision I'll make. I wouldn't even be mad if I split all of my exposure on FanDuel straight down the middle. Sonny Gray 50, Dustin May 50. I walk away with all of the loot. Alrighty, I gave you 3 pitchers. Now I will give you 2 stacks, and leading off for my favorite stacks for today, very, very clear to me. It's the New York Yankees. I have massive amounts of Yankees right now. They came up as my top stack on FanDuel and on DraftKings in my crunches, and I couldn't keep them out of my exposures. 5-run implied total. That's at the top with a few other teams today. But it's more of a pricing thing than anything else. I mean, not to mention, facing Tommy Milone is a certain benefit. Judge is going to be chalky. He's been chalky as of late, particularly on DK, where he's priced at only $4,600, but I can't avoid him. He's my favorite play of the day. Clear across the board. $15 on Yahoo, too. You should just be getting a ton of Aaron Judge. He does exactly what you want someone to do in baseball, and he's not even at a price point that makes it ridiculous. Not just that, not just Judge. I want a ton of Gary Sanchez. Pretty much equal amounts. I have him in like 40% of my lineups right now since it's just a 7-game slate. I just want to get all of the righties that I possibly can. Tommy Milone gives up like a 200x ISO to righties. Aaron Judge, massive power from the right side. Gary Sanchez, massive power from the right side. Gleyber Torres, massive power from the right side. Gio Urshela, power from the right side. I can't use the word massive relative to those guys, but Urshela looks to be going overlooked. I still want to get there just as much, especially on DK, where he's splitting some of the ownership that DJ LeMahieu is getting because they both have third base eligibility. Just go to Urshela. $4,300 for a third baseman is well worth it against Tommy Milone and the Mariners. I will have the Yankees as my most exposed stack, unless for some reason they sit Judge and Sanchez tonight. If you don't want the Yankees, if you're from, like, I don't know, Boston, and you just can't do it, I think the Cardinals are a decent alternative. They're my number 2 stack right now. Now, they are pretty far behind the Yankees in my personal rankings, but that doesn't mean I still won't be over the field on St. Louis. They get Gio Gonzalez on the hill, and they lean very heavily to the right side. Sets up perfectly, in my opinion. Projected lineup right now has 8 righties for the Cards. Gio, over the last 2 seasons, 169 x ISO to righties, a 337 x WOBA. The x WOBA number is, relatively league average. The ISO, a hair above average. That just sets up pretty well in a hitter's park, no less. Now, it plays up a little bit more to lefty power, but it's not like righty power comes here to die. So guys like Paul Goldschmidt, 4,500 on DraftKings, no-brainer salary. Paul DeJong, 4,400 for a shortstop, no-brainer. Ozuna's 5,500, but it's not as if that's a price tag that's super crazy or wrong. He's just priced like Marcell Ozuna should be. I don't mind paying up for a shortstop in that regard because the the replacement level of shortstop is just so dramatic. I'm going to be stacking these guys up pretty aggressively. I don't have a ton of interest in, say, Yadi Molina on FanDuel, but on DraftKings for 3,700, happy to get the catcher to come with it. This is mostly just a play against Gio, though. That's so many righties for him to try to wade through that I want to go to the Cardinals and just bet on some of the power. Goldschmidt, Ozuna, DeYoung, Fowler. Now, Fowler is better against righties than he is against lefties, but he's still good enough, especially in the leadoff spot, if he stays there. Harrison Bader's got a little bit of pop. Molina's got enough. Right now, these guys are coming in as my second most exposed stack. That's on both FanDuel and DraftKings. No issues really getting to them on Yahoo, although the prices are a little tough. Paul DeYoung on Yahoo at $13 is going to be your best option. And Yadi Molina is a flat minimum catcher, so those two pieces make it a little bit easier to get to someone like Goldschmidt and Ozuna, just a hair under $20 for Ozuna, 20 on the dot for Goldschmidt. Just get the Cardinals. They're good. All right, I gave you guys 3 pitchers, gave you guys 2 stacks. Now I've got some one-offs. 3 of them in particular, and I'm leading off with Kike Hernandez. He's set to hit 7th today, and he is getting no ownership across the industry. 2% on Yahoo, 2% on FanDuel, just 1% on DK, where he's only 4,200 with dual eligibility. The offense is fantastic, so I love the idea of him being able to, score some runs, get some guys on, knock in some RBIs. The power potential is certainly there. He's got the righty-lefty matchup with Eric Lauer. I love to get to guys like Kike, especially on DK with the dual eligibility. There's 0 ownership. There are 4 guys on the Dodgers in double digits right now, and Kike is just slipping through the cracks. I would love him a lot more if he were hitting higher in the order, but he would also bring a little bit extra ownership here. So Kike Hernandez is one of my favorite one-offs of the day. Another one-off I have my eye on today, and it's kind of a tricky one for me, Jake Lamb. Now, I normally don't try to target offense in San Francisco. Lefty power, 83 is the park factor for left-handed hitter home run power in San Francisco. It just brutalizes power. But Jake Lamb still has it, and Tyler Beede can still give it up. Lamb, 8% projected ownership on DK, 2% on FanDuel, 5% on Yahoo. But here's the real kicker. He's $3,200 with first base, third base eligibility on DK. He's sub 3K on FanDuel and just $9 on Yahoo. At those prices, I think he's more than worth the risk of having to take some at-bats in a less than stellar park. He's got the power potential to hit it out of any park on the planet. Let's be clear here. But at those prices, I would expect him to get more ownership. The park is suppressing it quite a bit, and that's exactly what I want to know. He's the type of guy that I want to double up on because I wouldn't be surprised if he double dongs. Now, speaking of double dongs, don't be afraid to like this video, and in the comments section, after you're done watching everything, and it's almost done, I promise, like the video and put your comment in there with your double dong pick of the day. If you get it right, you win a month. Bossimo Plus. Doesn't cost you anything. All you have to do is like the video and comment the dong. It's that easy. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that Jake Lamb's going to double dong in San Francisco, but I would look like a genius if he did, but I wouldn't be shocked if he hit one. Final one-off for you guys. Don't get the sense that he's going to be talked about all that much today, but now that he is back and back in that leadoff spot, I have to keep an eye on him, even in a righty-righty matchup, even in a right-handed matchup in Milwaukee, which benefits lefties more. I'm really paying attention to Lorenzo Cain tonight. Now, the Brewers have one of, if not the highest implied total on the slate. They're going to be near the top regardless, going up against Wainwright. Cain's just underpriced throughout the industry, and it had to do with not hitting leadoff consistently. So he's $11 now on Yahoo, $3K on FanDuel, and $4K on DraftKings. That is a bargain for a leadoff hitter that is, at the minimum, a league average hitter with some speed. To get that sort of guy at sub 10% ownership on FanDuel, 4% owned, to get a leadoff hitter like that in this spot is exactly what I'm looking for. If the Brewers go crazy, you have to assume that Lorenzo Cain is helping to set that table, and he's picking up I don't know, singles and doubles, stolen bases, runs scored. He can be a guy that gets batted in from, say, a Christian Yelich or Mike Moustakas home run. I think that he can be the catalyst for some offense for Milwaukee. And I just want to get guys that are owned in single digits in advantageous offensive spots. Kane fits that bill. Alrighty, everybody. That's all I've got for you today. A couple pictures, some stacks, some favorite one-offs. If you want to find us, go to www.awesemo.com. You can use the promo code JOSH to get 50% off your first month of Awesemo Plus. Follow us on Twitter at Awesemo_com, or actually, let's go with and Awesemo MLB. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engelman. That one's easy. Rest of our schedule for today, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, the deeper dive, Alex Baker, Awesemo himself, Dave Loughran, Adam Scherer. The normal deeper dive show, and you can't beat it. But stick around on that same link. Don't go anywhere. Live before lock, myself and Jake Hari taking you all the way up to not lock. 6:45 p.m. Eastern Time. We got to cut it short because we're transitioning to 7 p.m. Eastern fantasy football draft live stream. Got the boss man. We got Ben Rasa, Chris Spags, couple pros and celebs that are going to be entering it. And then immediately after the draft, can't give you a time, don't know when it'll end, but our one Dave Loughran will be hosting a recap show right after it. So tons of content coming up tonight. We'll be on and streaming from 5 p.m. Eastern till, who knows, 10 p.m. If you want to watch us all, find the Awesemo.com YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, search for Awesemo. You'll find us immediately. Best of luck tonight, guys. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.